What's up? It's China the Old Soul, and welcome to Chai Talk. Today, I have a very special guest. You've seen him before on my channel, but this is his very first time on the podcast. So let him know who you are.
Hey everybody, what's up? It's King Hashim. I am a writer, singer, dancer, actor, and most recently a published author.
Shout out to that. You already know we love Black excellence, so come through with the Black excellence. And right after this intro, we're going to get more into it. So, King Hashim, tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Well, I am 23 years old. I grew up in Miami all my life. I am actually headed to California soon to go to school, become an actor full time. And once again, as I said, I've recently published my first book. Little things about me, I'm also in the military. And in my book, it does cover, and in my biography, that I am a part of the LGBTQ community.
Okay, shout out to y'all. And we're going to get more into the book later. But first, we want to get into your business a little bit. Not too much, just a little bit. Let us know about all your other talents and why you decide to pursue them.
So my other talents, you have acting, singing, and dancing. With those talents, I started to get into it at a young age, from I would say around 8th grade to now. But the reason I started to get into them was because I feel that I have a calling to entertain people. I feel my calling is true, to make people feel better, to uplift them through the skill of acting or singing or dancing.
Okay, we love entertainment, especially in Chiville. We have a lot of artists, we had a fashion designer, a whole bunch of other stuff. And I think you're my very first author because last time I had a blogger, but I didn't have an author. So this is a question I like to throw around and mix up with every other person I have. How would you describe your craft in 3 words?
In 3 words. Ooh. Trying not to sound conceited. In 3 words, I would say inspirational, beautiful. That's for anybody with a talent. Beautiful and hard.
Okay, nice 3 words. Now let's get into the writing. So as a child, did you enjoy writing? And what form of writing did you enjoy the most?
As a child, I did enjoy writing. I am not going to lie. It was once again a outlet for a lot of stuff that is going on. You know, as we grow up, our parents will often say that we're kids and we don't have stress. But us growing up, we know that we've dealt with our own stresses, whether that be school or after school or whatever the case may be. So one of the forms of writing, or how I started, was poetry. And I've started poetry at a young age. I took up the skill actually from my stepdad. And from then on, just tried to excel on my skill in writing, especially when it comes to poetry. Most of the time, the way that I think is, you know, the way that I thought in the past was poetry had to be long. So I would start with smaller poems, roses are red, violets are blue, candy is sweet, so are you, that kind of thing. And then later on, eventually it led to more evolved, more deep writing.
Okay. I feel like a lot of us love poetry. For me, I used to write poetry for fun back in the day. I feel like I really started in 8th grade, and then once high school, we had to have our little assignments, and it was so much fun. So poetry, love it. And I can remember, fun fact, me and King Hashim went to high school together. I can remember many of times you doing poetry. So let's get into that. How many poems do you feel you have done? Do you have like more than 10 or just, a good little five?
I definitely have more than 10. I have more than 10. Each time I write, it used to be based off of what was going on in the world. So believe me, if there was a news story or if there was something that was going on in my own community, I've written about it. And believe me, as you know, in the 305, there is so much to write about. Even if you're not trying to write, there's so much to write about. So I would say I will have from the past to now, I will have about 20 poems.
That's a lot.
20,
Maybe you
about
should
20.
make another book and call it King Hashim's Poems. That'll be fine. Just give Chai her credit though. Give Chai her credit. I said it on that time. So out of all the artists in the world, what makes you different? What makes you stand out?
That is hard. Everybody wants to stand out, to be perfectly honest. Everybody wants that time in the spotlight or try to find a way to stand out. I could call myself LGBTQ representative, or I could call myself the Black male representative, or I could call myself just the realest representative out there. But I would say what makes me stand out is that I take a bit from each and every experience that I have, being a Black male, being a gay male, being a leader in my community, a leader amongst my peers. I take each of those experiences and turn it into a different person. So you wouldn't see just a Black young male going out there, or you wouldn't see a Black gay male going out there, or you wouldn't see a leader of the community just going out there and doing what it is that I do. You would see one from each and everything that somebody could pick from whatever community it is. You would see that person out.
Okay, shout out to that. So let's get into the creative process. What is your creative process like?
Poetry, or in this book, I write about something that's relatable, whether it's my experience or an experience that I've heard. I never really wrote about an experience that I've heard in a book. I know people would probably think, oh, this guy is putting out people business. No, I've never written that into a book, or it would be something that came from TV. But just for this writing process, especially with the book, it was from personal experiences.
Okay, so in the process of making your book, what was your favorite part?
My favorite part was probably finishing it. Publishing the book was probably my favorite part.
Why? Why not the actual planning and development? Or did you just come through with the whatever came to your mind? Like, did you plan it or were you just processing and writing down?
When it came to the writing process for the book, it was more of a whatever came to mind. So it was more of just basically whatever came to mind. I'm trying to explain it, but it was whatever came to mind at that time. So right in the moment, I was just writing stuff down.
That's lit, because some people literally need to just sit down and have they outline and plan it out. But the fact that you can take the moment and write it down is so amazing. And speaking of moments, do you have anything or anyone that inspires you to do what you do?
Well, my inspiration, especially when it comes to writing, I would give to my stepdad. My stepdad may not have been the ideal father figure, but he was there. And a lot of the writings that I get, the realism in the writings, the style of my poetry, and the would come from his writing style. Inspirations also would include Maya Angelou and Charles Swindoll. I'm not sure if you guys know any poetry by Charles Swindoll, but a lot of poets, hearing their poetry and their writing styles helped a lot. And I also do want to give a shout out, especially with inspiration when it comes to the angry teacher, or Pops, from my English teacher, Pops, the angry teacher, who never gave up. who's seen the potential in my writing.
Yes. Shout out to Pops. That was my teacher too. Definitely came through with the came through when teaching and getting on us. So coming to our
Exactly.
last coming to our last question, but not our least question, just for this segment. Don't give us too much, King Hashim. But what inspired Tears
Trying
Fall?
not to. It is a struggle of one person. It is my struggle of me accepting my own sexual orientation, of coming to terms with who I am. I just put them in two separate characters. And the only way for you to actually love someone else is for you to love yourself. So it's about my struggle with sexual orientation and how I personally dealt with it, the coming out experience, the choosing a side between religion and being who I am, trying not to make everybody mad, but at the same time trying to find the love for myself that I couldn't find anywhere else.
I know you're like, keep talking, give me more, give me more. We're definitely going to give you more in segment 2. We're going to get more into the book. And remember, love yourself, be you. Don't be trying to be somebody else. And you can help my friend come through with Amda right after you watch this commercial.
Hey TikTok. I recorded this about 3 times, but it's hard for me to do stuff like this. I just want to start off by saying that I have been so blessed as of the beginning of 2022. And I have the opportunity to go to one of the schools that I have been dreaming of since I was in high school. Not too long ago, but so I'm coming on here to ask for help. So once again, I got accepted into one of the top theater schools in the United States. Right? I got my acceptance letter and I was ecstatic. But with FAFSA and everything, I have still a little bit to pay. Hear me out. So, AMDA being the school that it is, the type of school that it is, once again, it's probably one of the best theater schools that you can go to. Right? The tuition is about $54,000. Right? I have my VA benefits, so that paid, a good portion of it plus FAFSA. Right? All I have left to pay is around $14,000, I believe. So I created a GoFundMe, right? I'm just asking for a little bit of help just to get me started. If you don't have the means, by all means, do not, stress yourself over it. All I'm asking for is if you can donate. And if you cannot donate, I have no issue with that. Please share the video, like it. I hope this ends up on people's For You page. Like I said in the beginning, I'm not one to ask people for help, but you know, this is something big. It is something that could potentially start my future, and I would be amiss not to do it. The link for my GoFundMe is in my bio, but please like the video, comment, share, anything to get the word out, right? Help me go to college is basically what I'm asking. Thank you, everybody who listened. Love you guys. Have a blessed night.
And we are back. I hope you pay close attention to that video. So if you want to donate, you can donate and it will be in the description. But now let's get back into this interview. So what the world wants to know, especially me, how and when was Tear Falls born?
So, Tears Fall, my baby, the love of my life. It was born officially on the 9th. I would say on the 9th of March. Throughout all of the production team of iUniverse and everybody who helped me, literally time and time again, going in the room, because we were roommates at this time, going into the room. Hey, does this sound good? Hey, bro, can you listen to this? Hey, bro, does this sound good? That whole process, going through that, we're changing words, changing the different meanings and stuff, adding poetry. Between that which started, I would say, around November. The book process started around November. From that to March 9th, that was the whole process. And then baby Tears Fall was born March 9th.
Okay, you got a Pisces. A Pisces. So how did you come
Pisces
up?
out here.
Oh, I'm dead. So how did you come up with the title of your book?
So that is also a very interesting story. In the book, you will hear a poem called Tears Fall. Once again, this poem is about love or loving yourself, but it is split into you speaking, or myself speaking to somebody else. It's speaking to me in the mirror. So from there, I decided, and this is exactly how it went. From after writing the poem and reading it maybe twice, I said, I want to write a book on this particular topic. And that is how the idea to write Tears Fall came about,
Okay, from
or the
poem
name.
to book, period. So who is your target audience?
And this is what society would say, because it is about, gay love, I guess you could say. They would expect me to say it is for LGBTQ, but as I said, I am not just an artist that represents the LGBTQ, not an artist that represents the Black male, and I'm definitely not an artist that just represents the being a leader in my community. This book is for anybody 17 and up. I must add that, 17 and up, but this book is for anybody that has a struggle with loving themselves, any insecurity they may have. It's not just about the love of two people. It is also about finding love within yourself, getting out of a trap or a hole that you can't get out of because it's comfortable. Everybody is so ready to stay comfortable, stay in the same situation and the same place that they've been in, even though it's hurting them tremendously. They're so ready to stay comfortable. And this book is for them, to say that it is okay to step out of those boundaries of comfort. If and also for the heterosexual people, if you have a spouse, or if you are in a situationship, which is not good, but if you are in a situationship, don't be afraid to get out of that situationship or relationship because it's comfortable. But get out to make yourself feel better. Get out to start finding love within yourself. Who knows, you may find another spouse or significant other that will be there to treat you like the person you deserve to be treated. But don't be afraid to step out of that comfort zone, because it's not comfort. It's just a habit that we can't let go of.
Okay, come through with the words of wisdom. So what is the objective slash goal of your book?
Well, the objective for the book, this is my first book. So, and I'm praying that it does happen. But my objective for this book is primarily just for it to get out there. My goal, however, is to get on New York Times bestseller. But my objective is to just get it out there. There may be, and now I'm going into, you know, now I'm going into just marginalizing the different groups that could benefit from it. But, my goal is that there is some kid who's confused about who they are, who knows who they are, or, could use a little push, a little help to get to where it is they're trying to get to. And sexuality does play a big part in what I just said. But not only that, there's a kid who is trying to learn to love themselves for being or too skinny, and this has been an ongoing battle for years, especially in the Black community. Somebody who's too light or too dark, who can benefit from the words of wisdom of loving yourself. Of course, because it is a book about these two males falling in love, it can help somebody who is in the closet or it can help somebody who is struggling with that identity of themselves. But with the amount of sexual orientations that there are now, amount of genders that there are now within the new generation that's about to come up, it can help any one of those. Even if you're a heterosexual person, it can help you come to light with who you are, whether that be stubborn, or if you feel that you're ugly, which in my opinion, nobody's ugly, or if you feel you're too fat or too thin, learn to love yourself. And that is what this book talks about mainly. That is the main message of this book. Just loving yourself for who you are. It doesn't matter who you are, and stop allowing yourself to be trapped in a position that we believe is comfort based off the fact that we're used to it.
Okay. Coming through with the love yourself. Please make sure you love yourself. But getting back into Tears Fall, what about Tears Fall will make somebody want to read more?
Well, still trying not to give it away, but there is a particular part, and this part I put on TikTok. They had a video, and it said, if you were to write a book and you had one last line, what would it be? And I'm not gonna give that part away because then it's probably gonna give the ending away. But basically, I left everybody on a cliffhanger, including myself. I know what the second book is gonna be about. But reading the first book and going through the first book again, especially through reviews, it left everybody on the cliffhanger, right? Will this person get with this person, or will they not get with this person? It's not like it just stops. It is an ending there, but the ending either will make people mad or will make people wonder what is going to happen next, because it is a 3-part series.
Okay, come through with a 3-part. You just don't got one. You got 2 and 3 coming through
Yes.
with the come through. So I know that you brought up that self-love is a lesson in your book. Are there any other lessons we can get from your book besides self-love?
Yes, well, between the love of the characters, it is a white male and a black male. It also brings up the topic of race in a way, not just the regular racism and classism that goes on, but when I say race, I mean it does touch on interracial relationships. Because I'm not sure if anybody has noticed, but that is also, for some reason, a big issue within the community, not only the white community, but also the black community. So I purposely put an interracial relationship based off the fact that it doesn't matter the color of your skin, but it matters who you are as a person. And it's quoted in my book that the love interest doesn't love the main character sexuality or color. He loves him because he's a genuinely good person. So it brings up the topic of interracial love. It brings up the topic of stereotype, or stereotyping somebody based on what they believe something should be or something should look like. And it brings up cheating. It does bring up cheating. When mother and father cheats, or when boyfriend girlfriend cheats, it does bring up that topic too.
Okay, getting into that relationship. You might have people out here thinking about back what happened in the past. Can't even speak English. Thinking about what happened in the past. So getting into the book once again, because we're on the topic of Tears Fall, and later in the show you'll figure out how you can purchase the book. And speaking of that, why out of all the books that are here and that are to come, why should we purchase Tears Fall?
I believe you should purchase Tears Fall because there is many books, and I do mean many books that speak on teenage everything. And China, you know me as a person. I am somebody who takes risks within my writing, within my acting. I love taking risks. So right now there is a issue within the parent community of certain things turning their children into certain way. I don't understand it, right? This pushes those boundaries of this is not going to turn your child any particular way if they read this book. In fact, the only reason I put a a content warning into the book, because I did, for the comfort of everybody else. I do take risks, but I like people to feel comfortable. Um, is primarily to bring on that comfort to the parents. Your child is not reading anything any different than any other book that's out there. Or let's say this turns into a movie, praying that it does, but this movie will not be any different than Euphoria. It's not sexualizing anything. It's not bringing any feelings onto anything, because the risks that I take are primarily just to push the boundaries of specific topics. It's never to push the boundaries or try to influence anybody to do anything. In any of my poems or inside of the book, you wouldn't see me put any smoking in there unless deemed necessary or unless it goes with the story. Or you, especially in my poetry, you wouldn't see me put any drinking in there unless it's a bigger meaning behind it. So the boundaries that I push are primarily to speak about the topics that we are going through in today's society, that the future generation will go through. And it's also a book to teach kids, because one topic that I completely forgot to add is that I also put bullying in there. So what happens if your child, or what happens if my child grows up and, well, I can't say my child now, but what happens if your child or somebody else who has heterosexual parents, they grow up and don't know or have not learned anything about that? Is you're different than me. Now I'm going to go ahead and treat you wrong for it. Or now I'm going to bully you because you're different than me, or your parents are different than me. It's conversations that we should be having with our kids, but are not. Understand it is a touchy subject. And a lot of it, as I said in the book, has come from personal experiences. A lot of the experiences that the main character did or goes through in the book has come from my own personal experiences, from people not knowing how to approach certain situations. Yes, you may feel that your child will benefit from not knowing or not understanding, or you yourself may not want your child to understand. But at the end of the day, once they grow up into adulthood, then they will go based off of what they know. And a lot of times, what they know is not how to approach a certain situation, how to make it better, or how to bring peace or joy or love into the world. Most of the times, what they do unintentionally is make the situation worse.
Okay, that's a whole lot of coming through with the come through. And yes, many people feel there's certain types of ways about, I'm not gonna mess with the letters, but about the gay community, it's always something. And I'm a person that is a part of the straight community that is willing to learn more and to know more, because I don't know. I don't know what it is to be a lesbian woman. I don't know what it is to be a gay man, but I'm willing and open to have that conversation. And I feel like your community as well should be open too, but it's a whole lot of, but we're not going to get into that. So you mentioned a movie, and that's interesting because some books, well, actually a lot of books, if they come through with the come through, they become movies. So why a movie and not a series? Because I see you mentioned that you have 3 parts, so why a movie and not a series?
Well, coming from the actor's background, I've always enjoyed movies more. In fact, I am a movie buff. Like, if there is a movie out there, I have seen it from the 1950s all the way to today's movies. So, and if it is a show created for it, Once again, it's 3 parts. So whatever the director or producer would make of that, or we gonna go big. Let's say if I create or produce the show, I would not mind it. But I do feel that a movie, it would bring more to light certain situations, because that to light, but you have to wait next Monday or next Sunday to actually see what issues were pushed. But with the movie, you have 1 hour or 2 hours and some change to actually see what is going on between these characters and actually get to know these characters. I would prefer it go from a movie to a show, if that would make it better. But yeah, movie. I am a movie buff, and I do love the movies.
Okay, shout out to the people that love movies. I am a series girl. I love me a good show, but movies come through as well. So where can we purchase Tears Fall?
So Tears Fall right now can be purchased on iuniverse.com. They have a bookstore, which is also a publishing company for any authors that want to partake in that. And they have a website called ecampus.com. Ecampus.com is for a lot of college students where you would probably go get your books, or that's what it sounds like. But also in about 2 or 3 weeks, depending on what time you're watching this movie, or this episode of Chai Talk, or when you're watching this episode of Chai Talk, it will be on Amazon First Look and Barnes and Noble's Read Instantly. You can also get it as an ebook, or you can get it as a soft cover book. It's $13.99. Ebook is $3.99.
Okay, come through with the virtual world and the real world. We love it. Come through with the come through. So let them know where they can follow you.
So you guys can follow me on Instagram at Hasani_the Great. You can follow me on TikTok at Sani the Great. You can follow me on Snapchat at Sani the Great 1. And you can follow me on Facebook at Hasani Morey. Twitter is not up yet, coming soon once I get everything established. But you can also follow me at Twitter with my author's name, King Hashim.
Okay, as you can see, it's a pattern here. Great, great, great. So clearly, my friend believes he is great. So, what advice would you give to those who would like to be an author or an actor so they can be great?
Well, for both, and this is advice for both. When it comes to being an actor or a writer, one advice I would say is follow through. Do your research. You know, your work, especially when it comes to being an author, which is something I had to learn by myself, your work will not be something that somebody else did. For instance, my book is a fairly short read. It is 144 pages of, Tears Fall. So just because I did not write a Stephen King 359 page book does not mean that it's not going to be any better or any worse than Stephen King. So be your own person when it comes to writing. Understand that writing is going to, sometimes you're going to want to stop, and sometimes gonna want to give up. But once you have your final product, and once everything is done, you're gonna feel so much better. As far as acting, do your research. Search up your favorite actor and see what it is they do, how they get certain parts. Watch certain interviews with them. Make sure you do cold reading. Cold reading is just getting random scripts. Enhance your vocabulary a little. So if you ever do get an interview with a producer or director, or let's say you're just sitting in a coffee, you could sound impressive. Don't do that. I am lying. Don't do that last part. But yes, cold reading. Cold reading when it comes to acting. Find what suits you, right? People often say that I could fit a 17-year-old. I'm not going to try to go out there and audition for a 37-year-old if I know that I have a baby face, and vice versa. If they say that I fit a 47-year-old man, I'm not going to try to go out there and audition. And this is just in general. I'm not going to audition for the 17-year-old kid that lives down the street that don't really know much English. I'm going to go for my age range, what I look like. If I can, believe me, if you are 47 and can pull off a 17-year-old, one, let me know your secret. But two, by all means, go ahead. But if you can understand who you are, your limits to it as to being an actor, who you are and what you can do, then go out there and showcase it and never be afraid. For both acting and writing, never be afraid to put your work out there because whatever you do can help the next person.
Okay. Wisdom, words of wisdom, period.
We out here trying, we trying.
Let them know, let them know. And we got into our serious moment. We got to know King Hashim a little more. And then we got to know a tad bit about his book because you need to buy it to figure out what it is and what it ain't. But up next,
Yes,
after this wonderful commercial, we are gonna play a game, and I got so excited, couldn't even say it right. China loves to play games, so stay tuned.
Hey, you guys, it's King Hashim here. You could buy my book, Tears Fall, online at iuniverse.com. That's iuniverse, one word.com. Or you can buy it at ecampus.com. Once again, that's ecampus.com. On iUniverse, it is $13.99, and on eCampus, it's $13.97. Check it out.
And we are back. I hope you missed us. If you didn't, it's okay because we're about to get down with the get down. Let's see what Hashim like to do and what he don't like to do. So this is one of my favorite games. I played a lot on the show. It's called This or That. And I usually have an addition for the particular person. But since my friend is a well-rounded artist, we just gonna say the mix of artistry. This or that version, the mix of artistry. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
And listen, I already know you. You can only choose one. It's this or that. Don't be like, oh, I don't know. No, this or that. So think.
This or that.
Think.
Got it.
Think and then choose and let us know why you chose that. So first up, number one, creative writing or essay, and why?
Creative writing. I feel that creative writing gives you more of a leeway to actually put some heart into it. An essay kind of limits you to whatever the topic may be. But when you have creative writing, it gives you leeway to put your own emotions and everything into it. So creative writing.
Okay, creative writing, love that too, period. Singing or dancing?
Dancing, definitely dancing. Singing, I just got my singing voice. I am still, my notes be off sometimes. And China, that you ain't afraid to tell me when I'm off key, so definitely dancing. I would say I started dancing more before I started singing. So dancing.
Okay, it's okay. Everybody can't be Mama Betty. Everybody can't be Betty Wright.
Exactly.
We know. Everybody can't be Maxwell. We know.
Exactly. We could try.
It's okay. If you don't sound like them, keep trying. But back to the game. Fiction or nonfiction?
Ooh, this is a tough one. Fiction and nonfiction. Let's go nonfiction. Nonfiction because I am not only a movie buff, but I'm also a history buff. I love anything history. It gives me the real lowdown. If you actually do your research, it gives you the lowdown of everything, every accountability, and knowing somebody's true story rather than, anybody can do fiction. I feel that anybody can read fiction. Yes, you fall in love with somebody who has done something or changed the world in some type of way, or not fall in love with somebody who was a complete bully to the world. So nonfiction.
Okay, nonfiction. I actually don't know what I would answer to that, but it's not about me. And coming to my favorite, if you know me, you know this is a part of my heart. Theater. Do you prefer musical theater or straight acting?
Mm, I would say straight acting. I would honestly say straight acting because acting or just straight acting gives you the chance to it gives me the chance to broaden my horizons. I would say, that I love a good TV show or a good play that has some singing in it, some just out of nowhere singing or the character is sitting there cleaning up and singing, but acting because it gives me a chance to fall in love with my character or be my character, get into my character without trying to worry about the next steps or what's the lyrics to the song.
Okay.
That was a good one though. That
Yes.
was a good one.
And this one, the next one, I feel like I already know the answer, but hey, I wrote it down, so I gotta come through it to come through. Planning it out or writing it down as it comes to mind.
Writing it down as it comes to mind. That is something that I do enjoy, and the reason, not reason, the reason I prefer going with the flow, especially when it comes to writing, is you get a chance to put out your emotions right then and there. If you are angry with somebody, or if you want your character to be angry, you don't give it a second thought of how to make this person angry. No, that is clear cut, clear uncut you. That is clear uncut the character. So if you want to call it a mother lover, I'm trying not to curse. If you want to call it the character, if you want the character to say that their best friend is a mother lover, that is you. That is actually what you're saying. When you sit there and think it out, oh, well, maybe the audience won't like this, or maybe the audience won't like that. No, instead, this is who the character is. And then you go back and revise it later.
Okay, writing out of the emotion, period. And the next one, film or stage?
Ooh. See, if anybody knows me personally, I have been on stage from eighth grade to now. But I'm gonna have to say movie. It's really difficult for me for that one. I like both in a way. Stage because you have a chance to just go for it. There is no redos. There is no take backs. From my show when I was in Zooman and the Sign that rapper was not supposed to be in the house. That famous Amos bag was not supposed to be in the house. But there is no do-overs when it comes to stage acting. But I say movies because it does give you a chance that each and every cut, each and every take, you can make the character better. You can make them different. If you want to be goofy in the first take and you want to be serious in the next take, you have that opportunity as an actor to give that choice and make that the character. And then what the director feels, whether it's goofy or sad or happy or just a joyful character, that is what will be shown. And most of the time, directors are not wrong when it comes to the character choice on TV that is given by the actor.
Okay. And I love the stage too, because the stage is literally it's gonna make or break you. So you better come through or go home. And still on the topic of the wonderful theater as well as acting, what about playwriting or screenwriting?
Ooh, I feel I'm gonna contradict myself with this one because of the last, what's it called, the playwriting. Because of the last question, I feel like I'm contradicting, but definitely playwriting. When it comes to both playwriting playwriting and screenwriting, you are thinking about the audience. You are thinking about, you know, your vision and how the audience would enjoy it. And everybody ended up enjoying it based off the fact of screenplay writing and how they can implement the camera, how the lighting will work. Lighting go here, camera will come on here, will cut scenes here. That's great and all, but screenplay writing, you have a chance to bring, I mean, stage play writing, you have a chance to bring your vision to life, live, uncut, and on stage. And for any actor, if somebody can take your vision, or for any writer, if anybody can take your vision and make it 10 times better up on stage live the first time, even if you have like several million shows, or you have, 4 weekends of a show at 8 o'clock, if somebody could just take that vision one time and each time make it better, each night you see somebody different on stage, but it's better than the last time you see them. You yourself as a writer, especially a stage play writer, you yourself as a writer is surprised each and every time you see your own work. You know your job is done. Screenplays only happen once, and it's seen across theaters until the next biggest movie come out. Stage plays can be that Hamilton, or if you didn't know the musical Six, it could be that production that is going on continuously that people are talking about since the time that it was created.
Okay. Wisdom yet again. So
We try, we try.
getting back into this writing, self-review or peer review?
Ooh, I would say peer review. Offer it. I'd rather peer review. Self review, yes, you can say, and this is something psychological. Many people would say how they or their work isn't good enough. Nobody will feel that, unless you're very conceited, nobody will feel that their work is good enough. So they would constantly give themselves reviews that are okay. Maybe I should have choose this. And as a writer or just anything, you have that opportunity to change it, especially if you are a writer or a stage play actor. You have that opportunity to change it. But what if that first thing you did that you changed the first time was the best performance you ever gave? Peer reviews give others, it's like having a second or third eye. I said second eye. My bad. I am not stupid, I promise. It's like having a third eye. You have other people's views, other people's mindset on your work. I feel as an audience member that this would go better, if that makes sense, or that this character could have done this, or I didn't understand what this character did in the first act, or I didn't understand what this character was saying in the first chapter.
Okay, come through with the come through. And you already know this is one of my favorite things to do. Shout out to theater and mass communications. I did theater in middle and high school and mass communications in college. Do you prefer directing or producing?
Hmm. Ooh, gosh, it's the hard questions for me. Um, I would say I definitely prefer directing. I definitely prefer directing. It is, when it comes to directing, you have a chance to see somebody else's work and make it into a vision that you see as the third eye. As the third eye of that person's work, you have an opportunity, and it is a great opportunity to see a vision from it. And then, of course, everybody wants to be the boss. So you have an opportunity to boss some people around and, change some stuff if you see it would go better that way. So I'd say directing.
Okay, come through with the directing. And last, but certainly not least, would you prefer based on a true story or the true story?
I would prefer the true story. I would, and I don't know how many other people would agree with me on this one, but I prefer knowing what actually happened. If anybody knows me, my favorite mechanic, and that is based on a true story. Many people probably don't know, but if you don't know, Rose and Jack aren't real characters. They were real passengers, but the story was little lost. And I'm basically going off of what I was saying, but I want to know what actually happened within those few minutes or few seconds of the boat seeing the iceberg and what happened. It's so many stories, so many conspiracy theories out there on, well, the lookouts didn't have the binoculars, or the binoculars were locked away somewhere else, or they weren't paying attention. And the movie is depicted that they weren't paying attention. They were looking at something else and then seeing the iceberg too late. Or, the most recent movie that came out, the Emmett Till, the Mamie Till story. I would like to know that whole process. And it may seem a little dark, but know what happened on that day between, I forgot her name, and I forgot the lady name, but know what happened that day between the white lady and Emmett Till, because they're going based off, especially if you guys seen the show, the mini series, what happened between the little boy or before the little boy walked into the store. It is, and now we know that, she was lying based off what she says, but if she was lying about that, was anything she said credible, including what she said to her husband? Not blaming anybody for anything, but I'm just saying, these are stories that I would love to know what really happened, right? These are stories that I want, such as, and this is one of the biggest stories that I want to know or be very interested in knowing what happened. How did Harriet Tubman know the white people that helped out with the Underground Railroad? How does she meet them? Where does that go? Because in a lot of the stories or movies, we just see her taking slaves into the white people's house where they're hiding. We don't really know how she met these people. It wasn't up until Harriet where we found out that she was a general. So how did that conspire? So definitely true stories rather than based on true stories.
Okay, and you mentioned Titanic. I know you saw. I know you love Titanic. I still haven't seen Titanic, so don't get on me. I need some
Uh,
time when I see it because I understand that that's a lengthy movie. Movie can't even say it. That's how long it is. That's a lengthy movie. So when I have the time and it's a great moment, I promise you I'm gonna come through with Titanic.
yes, you have to watch it and don't fall asleep. Many people gonna fall asleep on it,
I'll
but
fall
Titanic is
asleep.
an interesting story, especially if you want to know something that was based on actual events, except of course the love story, which I said was not real.
Okay, but shout out to the people that watch Titanic. Shout out to me for not watching Titanic, but it's gonna happen one day. So unfortunately, this is the end, my friend. However, what last encouraging words do you have for the audience?
Last encouraging words, going back to everything that was said, especially in the segment of the book. Be yourself. It doesn't matter who you are, but find that inspiration somewhere. Nobody in this world is going to give you inspiration except your best friend, because China would probably kill me if I did not mention that. But nobody is going to give you that inspiration. So if you can't find it anywhere, find it in yourself. It doesn't matter who you are, what your sexual orientation is, what color your skin is. Just find that inspiration to love yourself, be who you are. And if you're anybody that is watching this and that has listened to anything I said, just go out there and be the best you can be. when it comes to anything. Be the best you can be.
Period. Great advice. In Chiville, remember to love you. And if you don't love you, I love you. And if nobody don't love you, I love you. Remember, China the Old Soul loves you. And I will see you on the next episode of Chai Talk.
I love you too.